You feel lost on earth, even though you have your shit together, do what you need to do, and feel good about it. I'm your host, Devon, and you're listening to another episode of Center of the Sun Podcast. Thank you for listening. You've realized a few things. All money is not good money, and you are overwhelmed with your friends. If you're down, you have all the stimulation in the world to take your mind off of what is causing you pain. Your life, honey, your life is set up to the point that you barely must even think. But there's a bloody, gangly, nasty open sore right in the middle of your torso, and it's keeping you from who you might be. Well, I describe the wound as open and bloody because there's trauma in not knowing who you are. Backstreet Boys said it best. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you did. Because that's all autobiographical stuff. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but it's not as important. Because you know what's important? As long as you love who? Me. Do you love who you are? I'll help you out. The answer is no. And I am so sure about this because of three things. You don't know your true worth as a supreme being. You live in a society that allows you the freedom to explore a ton of ideas and beliefs. And you're mature in soul development when you arrive at these exact questions. So thank you for listening. I'm your host, Devon, and you live in a society that is obsessed with outward expression. Since a child, you have been socialized to obsess over form and not substance. In previous episodes, I described soul development like being 5 years old all over again. It's the same. Any year you are alive. You were always told in preschool and kindergarten to play nice. But you were not really told why you should play nice. You were just told because it was like the right thing to do. And that's why you grew up either being annoying as like a super nice person or an asshole who's never nice, like me. Well, I'm nice all the time. And if you had a deeper understanding that cooperation gets humanity closer to progress than regression, then maybe I would have cared more. Or maybe you would have cared more about the topic at the time. So, how are you doing today? Please text me. I missed you. I'm doing YouTube and all kind of stuff. It's fun. Oh my gosh. But this is my main bread and butter. This is my girl. This is my baby. And today we're going to talk about self-love. This is, 2020. I'm really in the mood to talk about self-love. I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper. Don't judge me. Well, it's from Big Boy. I had a burger from Big Boy. It's the only second time I've ever had Big Boy. It was very good. It's the only burger you're supposed to have tartar sauce. It comes with mayo and tartar sauce. But you don't have any other condiments on it. You have pickles, but that's it. Anyway, text me. Or you can email me, but, text me to 513-549-6080. Do you love who you are? I hope so. When you allow outsiders to dictate who you are, because I know you don't love who you are, because if you did, you would be, in Nirvana or something like that. It makes you less likely that you love that version of yourself. So that's why you have to ask yourself these questions, because otherwise it creates an echo chamber. And it's just a void filled with outside noise. So understanding the self-love thing, especially when Valentine's Day is coming up, November, I almost said November. February 14th, Valentine's Day, a celebration of love and happiness and all of the superficial things that we're worried about. We're so worried about appealing to a partner, a sexual partner. We have fallen into disharmony with nature and must be balanced. This creates a dependency on your peers' judgments too. So I just bought my little sister some Visco girl shoes so she could fit in with her friends because my family doesn't have a lot of money. So I just spent the $50 to buy the little girl some shoes that were shiny and big chunky shoes. And finding independence from your peers' judgment is like the ultimate test in being like a person, especially if you're LGBT or something like that. You've learned at a very young age that there are compounding effects on your being. And it prevents you from forming coping skills when you don't find that love, that self-love. It really eats away at you, okay? So by the end of today's episode, and I want to thank you for listening, because you will learn two things. The foundation upon which you should place your self-love. That's the first thing you're going to learn about. And the second thing you're going to learn about today are the actions that you can take right now to start building more self-love before Valentine's Day comes. And then that's just self-loathing, not self-love. Self-love. Self-loathing is self-hate. That's what we don't do up in here, up in these streets. Oh my God. So the other day I was thinking of my like freshman year of like high school, or my 8th grade year going into my freshman year, the early 2000s, 2001, 2002. Do you ever just see a picture of yourself and just like lament and mourn those terrible years of fashion? And for some reason at the beginning of the millennia, it was like the cringiest time. There was, people were wearing blue lipstick. Beyonce was wearing blue bandanas as like a shirt, like I remember chokers, tattoo chokers were all the rage. The black thin, that looked like if you went to the tattoo parlor, that's what they would do. Mine was made of shells. My choker, I thought I was doing something back then in 6th and 7th grade. Butterfly clips. My sister had like 50 million of them. Used to put your hair in like those butterfly clips. Gauchos pants. Those were weird shaped. Those made you look weird. What else happened back in the early 2000s? What was your favorite part of the early 2000s? Text me 513-549-6080. Did you listen to Ashley Simpson or Jessica Simpson? Oh my God. Low-rise jeans. Low-rise jeans. I never owned a pair of low-rise jeans, and I never owned a denim Kangol or like a Kangol cap. You ever had one of those? Or a trucker hat, like was that Von Dutch? Ashton Kutcher. He was big back then. Chunky highlights. Those were ugly. Those are still ugly. Ooh, Juicy Couture. Do you remember that from the early 2000s? Or camouflage? I need a soldier up in here. Everything was camouflage. Everything was denim. Everything was so fucking baggy. Everything was a t-shirt dress or a t-shirt, tall t-shirt tee. Soldier Boy was in this hoe cranking and shit. But you know what my favorite thing? Oh my God. My favorite thing about 2001 was Chris Rock and his role in Osmosis Jones. Do you remember that? It was like an animated movie about the body, but it basically depicted the body like some big ass city. It's like you can watch like a trailer or something and just catch my drift. You don't even have to watch the movie, but each cell in the body has its own, brightly colored. Each cell in the body is brightly colored or like sentient, and it's doing their job, and it has a personality, and it knows what it's doing, and it fights against the man, and it does all the things, and it wakes up every day. Each cell on this Osmosis Jones movie, it's deeper now that I'm an adult, but each day these little sentient parts of that human would wake up every day and serve that being and perpetuate the survival of that being and fight against the foreign adversaries, foreign and domestic adversaries, and slaying the dragons and fixing the potholes and tending the gardens and watering the gardens and fixing the organs. And that's kind of thinking about that's kind of like a good metaphor for like today's episode or today's topic. And it's basically kind of thinking yourself as those constituent parts, but not for the purpose of dividing yourself, but for the purpose of recognizing the reasons why you need to consistently provide attention and nourishment to your soul and your spirit and all that shit that goes on. And every cell is connected. And understanding that when you break your body down like that and think of your body as each individual molecule moving on its own, you recognize that you have the ability to become depleted if you're not planted firmly within yourself, if you don't have a good understanding of who you are, if you don't love yourself just right. It allows outsiders to dictate who you are and what you will be and who you were and all that kind of stuff. And then they can effortlessly destroy you, which is like not cool. World War III, World War IV, all those things should not have an effect on your psyche because nature is your blueprint for dealing with various issues. And I want to thank you for listening because today is going to be, based on Secret Energy. Seven Bomar, he's a leader of Secret Energy or the creator of Secret Energy. And he shared this information with us today. And he gave some really good metaphors about how the planet communicates with itself. And one particular thing that it made me think of was like fungi or fungus, and kind of using fungus as a metaphor, because in previous episodes of Center of the Sun, we talk about bioelectricity. We talk about how plants talk to each other and how that is an indication and has also given us a good hypothesis for how we communicate inside of our body. And you can take the metaphor of how fungi communicate with itself and each other, the other spores and all that kind of shit but basically they communicate through a network of roots in the ground. Planting yourself deep enough prevents you from becoming easily influenced. That's the whole purpose. There's such a vast network of like roots in the ground. You also have that same network inside of you. Your nervous system is how you communicate with each cell. Each cell in your body communicates. For example, the gay agenda. Everyone wants to talk about the gay agenda and but if you were so straight, if your sexuality was so rooted in if you knew what the hell you were talking about and doing inside of your sexuality, you wouldn't even have a second thought about what anybody else is doing behind closed doors when they're naked with each other. And that's the thing, is like, if you're so sure, only people that are indecisive have something to say about somebody. And you do this by looking internally. You fix your face and you fix your attitude by looking internally, because the surface level is insufficient. Who the fuck cares about how humans mate or fake mate? Because if you're not procreating, but it's just like medical care, doctors and nurses and kind of stuff. Medical care, doctors can't just take your health at face value. You can't just take somebody at face value. You have to go within. But doctors at least need to run chemistries and lipids and renal panels and all that kind of stuff to get a baseline. And just like a doctor uses this as a central jumping off point, you can too use that same method if you go within. So ask yourself if you have gone deep enough. Have you? Seven Bomar, he shared on his YouTube channel and on his website, secretenergy.com, that seed depth dictates future survival of the organism. That's my interpretation of what he said. In other words, what is your moralistic barrier? And is it important to find that barrier? I want to caution you to not rush this process, because if your foundation is on shaky ground, or if it's not deep enough, and when you don't plant your seed deep enough inside of yourself, the wind, like something as like dumb as like a breeze, can sway you and break you off, or a fire and you can't grow back in Australia or something like that. But because it's your foundation, you got to think of it as like a seed. So you'll never, if you plant your seed deep enough, you'll need a full understanding of yourself. And just like fungi, you'll need allies too. So you need a network of like-minded beings to communicate with you. And all of this can help you become so secure in yourself that no one can take away or make you doubt your ideas or your beliefs. Because, do you know why I'm telling you this? Your ideas are your creations, but you have been limiting your definition of creation. Your current definition of creation denotes the inherent absolute beginning of an event. Absolution or ultimatums imply division. 7 Bomar states. He didn't state it in those terms verbatim, but he said that division is the source of disharmony with nature. And the idea of creation in and of itself is a manifestation of literal cells dividing. So if you think about yourself on the molecular level, each time your cells divide, there is the creation of something new. But what came first? We have a huge misconception, because what came first, the chicken or the egg? I ask you all the time, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Who creates creation? Who created the creator? Who is the creator of the creators? There is no answer. You know why? Because it's a paradox. And it's easy to get lost in a paradox. And for some reason, I almost think that that's the reason why this is our science. This science was meant to confuse you. For some reasons, humans miss the true essence of an idea because you're so busy trying to resolve a fucking puzzle. You're focused on the wrong thing. But it is human behavior when you are presented with too many choices, and you will most likely choose to do nothing. And that is where another one of your powers reside. The use of your mind as a record of your life. And that is you got to think of it like a rule book that guides all of your actions. And every action you take, foreign and domestic, backwards and forwards. But there's a huge disclaimer. And I want to just mention that power, like the ones we're going to describe today, have no use in the reality. And these topics are only relevant internally because external expression is possible but trivial. And that's because every single human experience of reality is slightly different from the other. And I'm going to prescribe to you a system derived from ancient wisdom, and it is the basis of many institutions, modern and ancient. Language is modern and ancient. So, and I say that this power, and when I say power, not like Omari Hardwick killing people, but I say it's a power because it already resides in you, and all you have to do is wake it up. It's a shut up in your bones. You're already aware of the system, but more so from an inverted perspective. It's the hustle, it's the capitalism, it's the money, it's the reason why you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck in poverty. All of that is an energy. It's an energy that's being enacted upon you. And it's an energy that is affecting your body in negative ways because it makes you activate your fight or flight immune response that has real world impacts. Your survival mechanisms. Yeah. They're being activated too frequently. They're too frequently. And so frequently that it's happening multiple times a day when it should be happening only in the event that you're about to die. And it's so pervasive. This anxiety that is just seeping into our reality. And it's so pervasive that it's even seeped into the mindfulness movement, this whole thing about new age thoughts. Because you're still supposed to slow down. You're supposed to force yourself to experience infinity right now. There is no concept of time once you die. But there is also, something that you should be very, cautious of. And that is in this order of creation. kind of like a religion, is important to you because you've always had a basic understanding of these truths about nature and life and reality. The best example I have is mathematics. There was a certain point in time when counting with numbers was completely taboo. For some, I don't understand why or anything about it, but ancient wisdom used to be focused on how the numbers connected to the planets and how those planets are mirrored with our organs and organisms inside of our bodies. Ancient wisdom has also maintained that numbers, along with their cosmic and biological equivalents, condense our reality to codes. Codes humans have uncovered and kept alive for thousands of years. Today we use numbers sometimes when language is too time consuming. So that is how the ancient people used them. I don't know why. I don't know how they used to count. For some reason, we think that they used to count with beans and sticks and something, but they used to use numbers to summarize general motherfucking experiences. The most pervasive code we all love to hate, some of us, me included, but we all love to be a part of is the zodiac. That's the most clear example of what I'm talking about today. And the zodiac includes the sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and respectively their codes are 1, 2, 9, 5, 3, 6, and 8. So that apparently, according to Seven Bomar at secretenergy.com, used to be the original sequence of the numbers and the original sequence of reality or how creation, I don't know. But this is the foundation. Basically, this is the foundation of numerology. It's the foundation of the zodiac, and it's the foundation specifically. This is the specific example of the days of the week. These are where the days of the week come from: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Saturday. And they're all actually numbers too. And in addition, there's hidden numbers 4 and 7, where like 12s come from, or whatever, that are hidden. And according to this ancient wisdom, it represents, those hidden numbers also represent the sky or some sort of enclosure. Maybe, I was thinking maybe the microwave background radiation. That's pretty cool. And there's something that sticks out in all of this esoteric knowledge, though. Have you guessed it? First, did you notice that Earth is not even listed? Yet that's our vantage point. Well, that is because, the Earth is the garden upon which you develop your being. A lot of energy is going to be required to do this because you have to maintain homeostasis. It's constant surveillance. And your lack of attention to your body is most likely the culprit of the disharmony that's causing your stress in your environment. And you can rely on the order of life to help you find the easiest way to understand how you find your being's purpose in this Garden of Eden. Everything is a freaking metaphor. Days of the week is just one part of what I'm talking about today. Systems like this are prime examples that these ideas are used intentionally by humans because they work. There are countless other sequences of numbers just like this, just like the days of the week or the time, like the clock and shit like that. But you tend to devalue them because you don't think about them deeply enough. So I want you to open up your Bible. Where's my Bible? Hold on, let me find my Bible. Hold on. Because there's a specific verse. I'm gonna pull up my I'm gonna pull up the internet. Let's see, the Bible. Isaiah. Hold on. let's see. Isaiah 55 and 11 in the New Living Translation. Or whatever verse I'm about to do. New Living Translation. NLT. Come on, there's so many things. There's so many versions. New Living Translation. It is the same with my word. So this is Isaiah 55 and 11, I believe. I send it out and it always produces fruit. It will accomplish all I want it to, and it will prosper everywhere I send it. This is an affirmation from the Bible. And I read that because Seven Bomar, he pointed it out today. Because it also wraps up into this. It's like, how does this even work? And if I find my place on here, let me see. How does it even work? And Seven Bomar, he claims that numbers reflect your internal power. And there's evidence. And I said that these codes, these systems of numbers as numerology is the foundation of like every religion and every language, including the Bible and Christianity and English. Numbers reflect your internal power. So the numbers that I said earlier, the 1, 2, 9, 5, 3, 6, 8, the moon, the sun, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, the sky, the microwave background radiation, whatever the hell you want to talk about. Like in previous episodes, you have a unique system of chemical reactions taking place trillions of times per second on a molecular level. There is an order somewhere. And whether or not this is it, this is the correct order, might be close enough, because humans have been passing this stuff down in various ways from the beginning of humanity. And luckily, hello, you have the ability to aid in balancing your body's homeostasis. You know how you're going to do that? Something very, very simple, and it's guided meditation. And the only thing you need to guide you is not music or anything. It's your intentions. Having clear and present intentions, deeply rooted within yourself, planted in fertile ground. And you want to do this because guided meditation will activate your cosmic energy. I can't tell you what these numbers mean to you. You have to meditate on them. And just like the Bible says, if you're having trouble with this message today, your words, your intentions, your thought forms, you send them out, they don't come back void. They actually come back by informing you of the true nature of the meaning of those numbers. So, you're having a little bit of trouble understanding what I'm saying. I need you to use sunlight as a guide, as a good starting point, because it is the manifestation of cosmic energy, but it's condensed. That's why we call it a photon, because we don't understand how light moves. And if you don't understand how light moves, then you need to use the moonlight to help you break down and diffuse the energy of the sun. Numerology represents the process of soul development, which is basically your personality, your values, your ideas that are unique to you. Or unique to you as it relates to this code. Instead of focusing on outward expression, honey, I want to encourage you to appeal to yourself through mindfulness and guided meditation, okay? Keep an open mind so you don't skip stages. It's not called order for nothing. And only personal development can give you the correct interpretation of all of this for you, basically. So some people, they get on this path and they're like, I'm going to use plant medicine. I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to trip my balls off. Like plant medicine has shown us that everyone's body is different. So there is no one size fits all. You have to go through the development process yourself because you are tuned specific, but there's an order. So what does it mean to you? What is the numbers 1, 2, 9, 5, 3, 6, 8? What do those mean to you? What path are you on? Do you know what life paths are? Do you want to know? Because everyone's body is different. Everyone's needs are different. and your reactions to these numbers and the plants and the environment are all different. But there is an order, and you can learn more if you want. So I want you to text me. I want to learn more at area code 513-549-6080. And I want you to have a great day. Thank you for listening.